Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to Respus Live. Welcome back. It has been so long since we've had this opportunity, but we're glad to be back on tonight. It is June the 1st, and we're so happy to start this part of the season off with Respus Live. And tonight we have an amazing guest. You're going to enjoy him. We're going to talk about some amazing topics. So please share the video. Start a watch party. We have Bigg B in the house from Coast 97.3.
Hey.
We're going to talk about a lot of different things. And so please just go ahead and share the podcast and start a watch party so that we can interact on tonight and talk about, there's so much happening in the world today. So there's so much for us to talk about on tonight. So please share the video, share the podcast, and start a watch party. So welcome back. I've missed you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be back on tonight. I'm grateful. I am grateful that we are all surviving during this time. It reminds me of an old saying that my grandmother used to say, if it's not one thing, it's another. We've gone through so much, but we're survivors. We're still here. And so tonight, the topic of Respus Live is hashtag better is possible. So if somebody will type that in the comments for me, hashtag better is possible. Better is possible for all of us. The enemy of better is complacency. When we begin to just become complacent, that's the enemy of better. Better is possible. That means it's up to us. It's up to you. Whatever you desire to do in life, it is up to you. You're the CEO of your own company, of your own life. And so better is possible. And I promise you, if you move complacency and being comfortable out the way and go after your dreams, your goals, your visions, your aspirations, better is possible. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't be truly convicted, but I tried it for myself, and I know that better is possible. And even now, what I have now, I still know that there's more to come. So there's more to come from each of you. So remember that better is possible. You have to have a change mindset. Your mind has to change. You have to stop being comfortable and complacent where you are and just understand there's more to life than this. There's more for you. You can go get it. It belongs to you.
Right.
It's yours. It has your name on it. So I want to encourage someone on tonight. If you don't hear anything else we say, understand that better is possible. That means it's up to you to go and get it. I want you to go get everything that has your name attached to it. You go get it. It belongs to you. It is yours, and can't nobody take it from you. So you have to go and get it. So again, we have to have a change mindset. When I mean a better is possible, I look at myself. I've taken the initiative to exercise because I know better is possible. I can't sit down and just, wave my hand and think that I'm going to be healthier. I have to do my part. So better is possible when we do our part, when it comes to health, when it comes to our finances, when it comes to our spiritual walk, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our career, our education. Better is possible, but we have to go get it. I want to encourage you wherever you are. Don't allow the enemy of complacency to have you stay in the same place you're in, because there's so much more to you. There's so much more you can do. There's so much more for you to go and get. And I want us all to win. I believe that we all can win. We are all winners. We are all victorious. We are all more than conquerors. So better is possible. It does exist. It's there for us. All you have to do is take a step. Every journey begins with one step. So you take that step and you understand that better is possible. And every day we have to strive for better. I want to be a better person today than I was yesterday, but I have to make the changes. Better is possible lets us know that there's a possibility that we can see better, that we can live better, and that we can have better, but we have to go get better. It's up to us. So it is there and you can go get it. So again, our guest tonight is Bigg B, Brandon Hickman, and we're so glad to have you at Respus Live. Welcome.
I am honored to be in the building in this chair with Respus Live.
Yes, Bigg B in the house, Bigg B in the house.
Yeah.
We're so glad to have you. Thank you so much. I wanted someone dear and near to start this new season for Respus Live off, because we've been on pause since I think March. And I was like, who? And I asked Jamie, I said, who can we get? And so he's like, Bigg B. I said, let me see if I can get Bigg B to come on in here to Respus Live.
I'm here.
So I'm so glad you're here in the house tonight. So I stole the theme or the title of this, Better is Possible, from your one of your nonprofit organizations, correct?
Right.
And so I just felt like it was so fitting for what we can talk about on tonight, because it is possible for everybody.
Right.
It's just not possible for some people, no matter how you grew up, where you were privileged or where you worked in the fields like we did.
Right.
It is possible.
Right.
And there's no limit to what we can have in life.
Exactly.
All we have to do is go get it.
Right.
And so I just want someone to understand tonight that it's possible and that we can go get it.
You can. You
Yes.
definitely can. And it, like we were saying offline, it might take a little longer.
Yes.
Or a shorter time, but all that stuff in between is where you get to be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's that dash between our names.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's going to matter.
Exactly.
What have we done? How we've accomplished, and what have we
Exactly.
accomplished?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So better is possible, and I'm so excited about that on tonight. And I'm just looking at the hashtags down there that they're hashtagging better is possible.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
So listen, for people that don't know you and doesn't I don't know how they can't listen to 97.3, but if by chance they don't, please tell my viewers who you are and your profession.
Okay, Brandon Hickman, and I go by Bigg B on the radio. I am the program director of WMNX, which is Coast 97.3, and I've been the program director for now, I think about 11 years now.
Wow.
I'm getting ready to say wow too, but I'm originally from Wilmington. They don't make a lot of us anymore. If you ever been in a meeting and said, hey, how many folks from Wilmington? It might be 2 people in there. But I am originally from Wilmington. Actually, where we're at in our studios right now, I grew up on this side of town. I grew up in First Baptist, amen, on 5th and Campbell Streets, on the corner of 5th and Campbell. That's where I grew up, and I enjoyed it. I was in band. I always loved music.
Okay.
That was always my thing. I played trombone. There's a drop on my radio show that says I wasn't in the sports. I was in the spelling bees. But that was my thing. I was the nerd, and I enjoyed music. I enjoyed my friends, and I later went to New Hanover High School, and I graduated from there, and I attended Norfolk State University, and I graduated from there.
Okay.
And I got my teaching credentials in Charleston at the Citadel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so what schools did you teach?
I taught at Baptist Hill High School.
Oh.
That was the very first school I taught. It's on, I was going to say Edisto Beach. It's close to Edisto Beach. So the kids that live on Edisto Island in Charleston County, they actually go there.
Oh,
so
okay.
this particular school is on Young's Island, which is in Charleston County. It's south of downtown Charleston.
Okay.
So I was there. That was the very first place I taught at. And then I taught there for about 4.5 years. And then I moved home.
Move back home.
Moved back to Wilmington.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no place like home.
Oh, man, it's not.
Yeah, it is so good when you can go back to your community and give.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got excited when
Yeah.
they offered me a job to teach in New Hanover County schools. I was like, yeah, I'm coming home. Yeah, let's go.
And so how long did you teach before you realized that there was a passion on the inside that needed to be on the outside?
I'm going to be honest. I've always DJ'd. I've always hosted. I was always the funny dude on campus. And that was always cool with me. But I always had, and I love my mom. Rest in peace, my mom. She was always in the back like, you ain't gonna make no money doing that. You better get a job. So that's why I had to major in business, major in education. And then I would do parties and DJ and things like that. And then I moved to Wilmington. I was teaching school. I was teaching at Murray Middle School when they first built Murray Middle School. Shouts out the first person that hired me when I got back to New Hanover County, LaShawn Smith. Shouts out to LaShawn Smith.
Okay.
She hired me. And I was teaching, and I was on the radio at the same time, only once a week.
Okay.
So I was doing like parades and things like that on the weekend. But I realized that I was effective to more kids going to those parades and showing up for the we did something called the EOG tour. Right. And I said, oh man, I'm affecting more kids and students this way than I was in the classroom. What if I could use that? Can I take my education part and put it inside of the entertainment, edutainment, and try to help some kids? And I was like, uh-oh, I got the bug, because now I'm stuck in 4 walls. I was like, oh, man, I think I'm going to do it. And so I continued to DJ. I would teach during the day, and I would be on at night. Okay. And then they made an offer. I had an offer to become the program director, and that's when I took the leap.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
So better is possible.
Oh yeah, it was better. It was something better. I never in a million years I thought I'd be running the radio station.
Right.
Never in a million years I thought I'd be on radio.
Yes.
I didn't think that way, and I think it was a blessing, and so I try to use that that blessing to help others.
Yes.
To help other students that feel like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm like, yo, let me tell you my story. Let me tell you my story.
Yes.
And hopefully that helps out a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it does, because sometimes our testimony helps so many people
Mm-hmm.
when they understand we don't look like what we've been through.
Oh, yeah.
And that we just, we weren't just placed here. We had to work to get here.
Right.
And we had some tribulations and trials that we had to go through. But the
Right.
key is better is possible, and we made it.
Right.
And we're still striving to obtain better because it's available for us. I just don't want us to be complacent and just satisfied with where we are, because there's so much more out there that we can obtain and have that actually belongs to us.
Correct.
And so I'm an advocate of going to get what belongs to you.
Correct.
And working hard to get it. My grandmother taught us, and she raised us working. I mean, we have amazing work ethics because we had to work for what we received. Nothing was given to us. And so that same mindset where you want to go and work for what you have, you can go get it, because there's no stopping us now. I mean, we
Right.
have everything that we need when we come to the table. I tell everybody, when you go to the table, have your credentials so that therefore you'll be heard.
That's correct.
Yes, because if I can ever get a seat at the table, I'm not worried about what happens after that.
Right. I just need to get in the room.
Yeah, in the room,
Get
in the room,
to
in the
the
room.
table. I'm good. Let
Yes.
me talk. I'm gonna talk now. When I get
If we
there.
could get to the table, better is possible. We have
Right.
to make sure we prepare ourselves. I'm an advocate about
correct.
preparation. We have to prepare ourselves for any table. So better is possible, but we have to take that action and understand that we have to do something.
Right.
So tell me, how did you come up with the name Better is Possible for your nonprofit?
That's a great question.
Yes.
So when I was in high school, I had a teacher, my 10th grade advanced English teacher at New Hanover High School. Her name is Dr. Diane Emerson.
Oh.
And Dr. E, and at that time, she was not Dr. E, because I call her Dr. E. At that time, Dr. Emerson was not Dr. Emerson yet. She was getting ready to be. She was working on her master's and her doctorate degree. And so while we're doing that, every day when I come in, I'm like, man, Dr. Emerson, da 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 da. And she say, you know what? If good is not enough, if better is possible, good is not enough. She would say that to me, and I'm like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And I would put, I would wrote on a paper, and she'd give it back, and it'd be marked up red. And I look at everybody else's paper, and I'm like, man, nobody else's paper marked up like this. She was like, if you could do better, this is not enough.
Yep.
This is mediocre. If you could do better than this, then this is not enough. And so she said it to me every day. And so I left, got promoted to 11th grade, but she still said this to me every day.
Yes.
11th grade, every day, 12th grade. I went to college. We come home, and she would invite us over and say, hey, I'm getting ready on my doctorate degree. She would let us read the dissertation. She was like, I want to do better. And I want to show y'all. She actually showed us, because it's a couple of us that, we consider ourselves a part of her family. And she was like, I want to show y'all exactly why better is possible.
Yes.
And so I adopted that, because she actually told me that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I ran with it. And she actually sits on our board of directors, too.
Oh, does
so,
she?
Yeah, that was a very, when we were planning it, like, who gonna sit on the board of directors? I was like, man, Dr. Emerson got to sit on the
I
board of
know.
directors.
She is amazing.
You know?
Once I started my doctorate degree, I contacted her because I wanted a mentor. And so she was one that came highly recommended. So I asked her, I
Okay.
said, would you please be my mentor? And I just told her the things that I needed. And she told me the same thing that she told you years ago.
Wow.
And so she's an amazing woman.
Yes.
She keeps me encouraged, because it's a very difficult program. The attrition rate is very high, over 50, 53, 54%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's difficult. And so I knew I needed somebody to push me. I knew I needed that encouragement every now and then in my ear. Not often, but every
Right.
now and then. And she serves as that for me. So
And you need a good prayer from Dr. E. Because you might, I'm getting ready to go into something. We might be going into an event. And I was like, Dr. Emerson, thank you for coming here. And she just grabbed your hand and just start praying. I was like, oh.
yes.
And you always need a good prayer from Dr. E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where you came up with better is possible.
Yeah, that's definitely where I came up
That
with
is
that.
great.
And making it a nonprofit,
Yes.
community development corporation, my wife and I. and
Shout
putting
out
that
to your
together.
wife.
Yeah, shouts out to Prina. What up, Prina?
Hey, Brina.
But we actually put it together, and that has also been how do we make our team work better? Because she had her thing that she was doing with women,
Right.
and I had my thing I was doing with the youth, and we were always going. What is it that we did together?
Together,
well? And
yeah.
that is how we kind of put everything underneath that umbrella.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is great. You guys are doing a great work.
Thank you.
I hear people call other people power couples, and I totally disagree with most of it because I'll just say that much.
Wait a minute now.
I'll totally.
You went there.
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say. I'm learning. I'm learning. You just don't get a name like power couple because you're married and both of you are doing something that is considered successful. But are you helping other people? Are you in the community?
True.
That's just my personal definition of power couple. So I don't use it lightly. So I call you to a power couple because you're in the community. You're in the street. You're grabbing kids, sending them to school.
Thank you.
And you just don't leave them there. I noticed that you adopt most of them.
Yeah, they're my children.
Yeah. And so that's what makes you a power couple because you give back.
Thank you.
You can be successful, but who are you helping?
Right.
Have you picked someone up along the way? Are you
Right.
just going by yourself? So I see you two picking people up along the way and just moving in the community, touching lives and making a difference. That's what power couple is. That's what a power couple is.
Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned. So you two are what I call a power couple. You do so much for so many people. You help and you give back.
Right.
At some point, you have to give back.
I think there's not to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I think that's very important.
Oh, it's absolutely important. Yes.
I tell people this all the time. If it was not for 901 Nixon Street, which is where the Boys and Girls Club, Community Boys and Girls Club is located, I say this all the time. If it was not for 901 Nixon Street, I'd probably be going in your house. Yes, my mom raised me really, really well, and she was a Wilson grad.
Yes.
But mom wasn't always there.
Absolutely.
And I could kind of finesse grandmama. I finesse grandmama because I'm the baby.
Yeah.
I can finesse grandma and get out in the street a little bit.
Yes.
But I say that because if it wasn't for the Community Boys and Girls Club and the things that they instilled in me and those folks that gave back while I was there,
Right.
I saw them give me why it was important, gave me the information about why it was important to give back. And that always has set in me since, middle school, high school, that it is very important that we give back because that's the only way the seeds get planted.
That's it.
And so the next crew coming behind me you gotta give back too. And always making sure, hey, but did you volunteer tomorrow? You gonna volunteer tomorrow?
Yes.
So that's very important to us.
It's very, very important. And I enjoy, watching you two give back. It is so important and it's necessary.
Definitely.
I don't think that we've arrived where we are just to be able to say we're here.
Right.
And that we've obtained so much if we haven't helped anyone.
I agree.
And so I ask myself, how can I be a blessing to someone by word or deed today? That's a question that I ask myself. And then when Christina and I do our morning prayer, I always add that God allow us to be a blessing to someone by word or deed.
Yes.
Because you don't have to always give back financially.
Right.
You can speak into someone's life. You can encourage them, like Dr. Jameson does for me, just speaking into my life. She's giving back to me, as I pursue my degree. And so we can give back in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be finances or, you have to be present all the time. You can just push somebody with your words of encouragement. And then if you're able to give back financially, you can do that as well. So tell us a little bit about, and then I want to go on some tough topics since you're here and you talked about it today on your radio station, and you called a few people in to, we can discuss that later because this is something I feel like we need to talk about.
Okay.
We need to talk about the society and the world that we're in now,
Right.
and so we'll touch on that in just a few moments. But I do want you to talk about the scholarship program that you have.
Okay.
I've actually had the opportunity to come to Rip the Runway when
Hey, wait a minute.
Listen.
So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there now.
No, don't even say that because I know what you get ready to do.
I'm getting ready to formally invite you,
To
Miss
be
Respus.
to sit down.
Respus. No, to model.
No, sir.
You're not going to model?
I can't do that. No.
We'll guess what? We're going to ask again in October.
What you say?
Jamie said we're going to do it. I want to formally invite you. You can rip it.
Yeah, I sure can. Right on that seat. I want to be. So let's talk about Rip the Runway.
We'll talk about this afterwards, man. Rip the Runway. We came up with Rip the Runway. My mom passed away in May 2011.
Okay.
She passed away. It was very sudden. And I was dealing with depression. People will not say it. I'm just starting to do that in the last couple of years, talk about it.
Good.
I was Bigg B during that time, even when my mom passed. So I was like, hey, y'all, I'm good. Hey, y'all, what's going on? I'm all right. It's nothing. And I would get home and just, I would give it all out, and I would get home and there'd be nothing.
Empty.
Prina would talk to me, and I just looking at TV, just, and she said, you're dealing with depression. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I had an anxiety attack. And I was like, am I having a heart attack? What's going on?
Right.
And I went to talk. I went to a counselor.
Yes.
That's another thing that we don't want to do in our community.
It's necessary.
We don't want to go to counselors. And I've been that person that's been like, I ain't crazy. I don't want nobody knowing my business. I have done that. But me talking to them, to the counselor, helped me a lot. It helped me to realize that how close I was to my mom. It was normal for me to be going through the grief.
Very normal.
And I had never experienced that before. I mean, my stepfather had passed, and when he did, I think me and my brother churned all our energy to our mom to make sure she was okay. But then, that was a big thing. I was depressed, and so I dealt with that. And so Prina was like, why don't you do something for your mom? I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so during this time, we're taking stuff out of our house. And it's like 10 55-gallon trash bags of shoes. And it's like 10 55-gallon trash bags of dresses and slacks. And I was like, man, mama, good gracious. And I'm giving it to her friends, and y'all just, who want it? I can't take it with me. Like, I don't have room. And she's like, why don't you do a fashion show in your mama name? And I was like, nope, I ain't doing that mess. But it turned out.
Look at it now.
It turned out really well.
Yeah.
We did the first one. We sold it out. We had Brooklyn Arts. We had like 400 people.
Wow.
The next year we did 500. The next year we did 750, then 8 something at the Hilton in the big ballroom.
Yes.
And we were blessed. We have sold out almost every show. But we did the runway to raise money in her name,
Right.
and to give a scholarship at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And we just tried for one. And so now I think we have helped about 11 students in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're excited about it. It might be more than 11, but we're excited about it, and it's in her name. It's called the Lillian Higgins Scholarship.
Yes.
And at first we said it was for students that want to go to major in education, and then we took that off.
Yeah.
We didn't want to put any stipulations if you just want to go to school, because education. We always say this too. My mom said this: education to change the situation.
Yeah.
And my mom was from the north side, and she was, we call this joint the Flint. We called her where she was from, the Flintstones. It was on McCray Street, because the building looked like a Flintstone building, rocks and stuff. But we said that because we think children or students need every opportunity they can get, and that's very important.
It is.
And we don't really base it off, hey, what you have, because going to school, period, I don't care how much money your parents make, is expensive. I don't care. So we try to help as many kids as we can, especially that first year. If I can just get you there,
Yes.
it's gonna be okay. That first year, we can get over that hump. That first year, you're good to go.
So what a beautiful way to honor her. Years and years. That's so beautiful, and it's nothing like a mother's love. So I applaud you for keeping her memory alive.
Thank you.
And helping so many people. As I said, it's always about giving back. So, hey, my mama just joined. Hey, mama.
Mama.
Sarah Perry is on. My mama's on.
Okay.
Happy to see my mother. I love the support from my family. My sisters are
Always
on, and my
good.
mom, yes.
Yeah.
And so it's a blessing. So let's talk about today. Wait a minute. We need to talk about Sabrina and her boxes.
Oh, right. So
Yes.
she has an organization that she deals with young ladies.
Yes.
And it's called Grits Girls Rocking in the South.
Yes.
And it's a mentor program for teenage young ladies. And these young ladies are they're from all walks of life. They're leaders. They have a podcast now.
Yes.
They even have their own podcast. Girls Rocking in the South radio show. I think that's what they call it. I might be messing it up. But you can definitely look them up and look for Grits. And with that being said, my wife is all about self-care.
Yes.
And a lot of that has to do with her being a nurse.
Yes.
And becoming so entrenched inside of nursing facilities as well as in hospitals. And she used to travel a lot as far as travel nursing. So she would be beat up at the end of a week or at the end of assignment. So self-care is still very important to her. So escaping was her big thing, trying to get away.
Yes.
Whether it was physical or in the house, or this is my space, this is my little room, and I just need 2 hours, everybody be quiet. And so she has something called escapesinabox.com. You can go there, and in that box, there's things from the rice pads you can heat up for your bag to smell good scented candles, to lather and soap, to am I saying it right? When you put the thing in the tub and it go blue.
Yes.
I forgot what you call that. But anyway, somebody put it down there.
Bomb or
The
something.
bomb, yeah, you put it in the tub and it goes. But those things like that, where you can pamper yourself, it's in a box. You purchase it, and it's your little escape
in a box.
Because some people right now, and I think people need it.
Oh, yes.
You home, you've been teaching, you've been doing your job.
Yes.
And then you have to check on the babies because you're teaching them to because they're home in this COVID situation. And so you might need a getaway. And where can you go? Because there's not a lot of things open.
Exactly.
So you get the box. And they also she has it for teachers and nurses and just a general box. It's a subscription. And she has one for girls.
Oh, good.
For teen girls, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving her a shout out on
Yeah.
all the amazing things that she's doing. We bow gracefully to the queen.
Yeah, gotta do.
So let's talk about the state that the world is in. So today you had 4 different, was it 4 or 5?
I had 4 folks
on the show, and you talked about the current issues.
Right.
It's time out for us being silent about it.
It is.
It's time for us to discuss and have those hard conversations about life.
Right.
You would think COVID was one thing in the pandemic, and then on top of this, we have to deal with the murder of Floyd, and it was horrible. It was so difficult for me to watch. It was, I could barely make it through the video.
Right.
It was just so difficult. Every mother heart broke when that was aired on.
Oh.
And so, it's just so much going on right now.
Right.
That it is time for us to come out of our shells and have those conversations, but not only just talk. It's time for us to
have some
action behind it.
Well, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I chose those 4 folks today because I know them, and I know at a blink I could try to get them on the air.
Right.
And they would be like, okay, let's do it.
Right.
And then I also chose those people today because I wanted a groove where I wanted someone in their 20s.
Right.
And I wanted our elder, not that she's elderly, but she's an elder as far as respect is
Mature
concerned.
and seasoned.
Right, and that's Sister Deborah Maxwell.
Yes.
And then I wanted Brother Councilman Kevin Spears.
Right.
And of course I had Said and I had Kadeja, who I call my play daughter. And I wanted them to speak on it because what you're seeing, I think, is some divisiveness. As far as what we feel as some middle-aged folks and what youth are saying.
Exactly.
Because it makes us seem like we're saying, oh, no, stay at home. Don't go out there. And I wanted our elder to say, hey, I want you to protest. I'm behind it.
Right.
Number one, it's COVID out there. Hold on now. It's COVID going on, so you might not see me.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing was, I want you to protest, but I want you to do it right.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be at 6 p.m.
Right.
at night. If you notice all protests, I'm not talking about riot. We're talking about protests. If you notice all protests, if we go back, and I know it's so cliche to say MLK and whoever else, whoever else was protesting during that time.
Right.
SCLC. It was all during the day.
Exactly.
I don't think everybody said, you know what, we're going to go out at 6. No, we're not going. No, because, at 6 o'clock, you can't see nobody. At 9 o'clock, you can't see nobody break the window. Who broke the window?
Right.
You can see it in the daytime.
Right.
So I wanted that to be brought across as you can do it. You do have a voice.
Exactly.
We know you're frustrated.
Yes.
But we want you to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
And so when you're done, rah, rah, Black Lives Matter, whatever it is, when you're done with that, we want you also to act.
Exactly.
So do you know today's the last day to there's some vacancies on the commissioner boards.
Right.
And there's also some vacancies on the city boards.
Exactly.
Go apply.
Yes.
You're a citizen.
Yes.
You can apply. You can be young, go apply, and then you disrupt in those spaces.
Absolutely.
And ask the hard questions in those spaces that make people like, oh, you're right. You're definitely right.
It is important for us to register to vote if we haven't, and to vote. And as you stated, those positions are available here in New Hanover County. And so we need some applicants so that we can have a seat to the table.
Right.
We need to get to the table, and we're the people that can help us get to the table.
Right.
Changes is essential in every aspect of life. It's time for a change in America. African Americans are tired and frustrated. I've watched so many videos of people just explaining the best that they can how frustrated they are and how angry they are. And I don't know too many people that can watch a video as horrifying as that and not walk away discouraged and frustrated and angry. Because at the end of the day, we want our children to come home.
Right.
You're raising a son,
Right.
And I was talking to one of my dear friends. I won't mention her name because I didn't ask her. And we were talking about this situation. And she told me, she says, well, Sharon, I've had a talk with my son, and he's 17 years old. She says, I've explained to him all the things to do so that he'll be home safe.
Right.
She says, but Floyd did all the things that he was supposed to do, but he didn't get home safe.
Right.
So now what conversation do I have with him?
It is.
And so when she said that, and I wish I could have asked her so I could share her name. But when she said that, it struck home, because you can do everything right and still not make it home.
That is totally correct.
Yeah.
And this is I made a post about that.
Did you?
With me and Big Ike, Isaiah, and when I talked to him, because I know who he is, and he has a huge personality, right?
Yes.
And so I already know he got a little mouth too, and I understand he's a teenager, but we working on that. But the thing is, I want you to, yes sir, no ma'am, yes ma'am, no sir. When you're approached, right? You should be doing the right thing. There's no talk back on this.
Right.
Whatever they say do,
yeah.
go ahead and do it. But now, if he does do what they say to do,
there's no promise.
he still might get shot or choked out.
Yeah.
So how do I explain that to him?
Exactly.
And I can't keep him in the house forever. You want him to develop. You want him to have friends.
Yeah.
You want him to experience
to live
teenage years.
and to exist and to live. Yes.
Exactly. So now it's hard for me to even
have a conversation to him. Yeah.
Explain to him. So what you want me to do if they do this?
Right.
Well, you just have to take it. So now it makes us as parents and older adults saying, "Oh, don't go over," and that's where I think our young folks are getting that. "Oh, don't go over there, master gonna get you," and that's not the thing. We want you to be safe.
We want you to come home.
We're thinking totally way beyond what you're thinking. You're thinking
right
in
now,
the now.
Present.
I'm thinking I want you to go to school.
Yes.
If you want to go to the military, you can go to the military. If you want to go to college, whatever. I'm thinking about things that you want to do. You want to act. I want you to do that, but you can't do that if you can't get over this hurdle of being stopped or whatever has happened in the community. So I you need to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and then whatever they ask you to do
it.
I said, I think the other part of the conversation was, don't resist.
Right.
I'm going to come get you.
Yeah. And don't run.
I don't think I've ever had that conversation with my mother or my stepfather or anybody like that. I've never had the conversation where if they say, if you get arrested, I remember my mom said, you get arrested, you better stay there.
Right. Don't call. You better use your one call for somebody else.
Right.
Because they're not coming to get you.
Or it was going to be a problem if they did come get me,
you
right?
You can believe that all the way home.
And so my conversation with him was totally different. I said, if you get arrested, just let them arrest you.
Yes.
I'll come get you.
Absolutely.
Just call me when you get there.
You have to have those
And that's
conversations.
bad because
Yeah.
I'm like, he might not have done anything, but I have to have the conversation with him now
Yeah.
because he's watching me watch the news.
Absolutely.
So he's watching. What's that about? Oh man, that's messed up. That
Yeah.
man did so and so. And so we have to have the conversations with our children and especially our boys.
Absolutely.
You know,
And our girls too. I mean,
Yeah,
you
our
look
girls
at
too,
Sandra
'cause-
Bland. I
right,
mean, she's a
you're totally
prime
right. You're
example.
totally right.
You know, at one time I was thinking all boys, but I have to have that conversation with my
Yes.
16-year-old daughter. I say, I
Yes.
want you home. So whatever you have to do to make sure you come home, that's what I need. I like Tony Bryant has a comment. She
Okay.
says, I agree with protests, but as a parent, I want my black sons home. My feelings are torn with this. And so my same girlfriend that I was talking to, she told me, she says, no one has the right to tell me how I should feel.
Right.
I am the mother of a black son.
Right.
So if I want to be angry, frustrated, upset, I have the right to feel however I want to feel.
Totally
and so
right.
America has to understand that we have the right to feel however we feel, and we have to take this however we can. And it's and Martin Luther King says that riot is a sign of those that are
Not being
been
heard.
heard. And so, of course, we don't agree with it, but are you getting the message that we're ready for a change?
Right.
Don't miss the message when you're sweeping up the glass from the store.
Right.
The message is it's time for a change.
Right.
There's different ways to bring a change, and I don't agree with stealing and looting,
Right.
but that's the language of people that's frustrated. They're
100%.
angry and they're tired, and I am as well. You know, it is horrible. It was so horrifying to watch that video, and for that officer to just sit there on. It's just horrible.
Right.
It's so horrible.
We don't instill. It's not we don't instill, but then there's a message of there's no hope for the justice part because we see this video had arose, right?
Yeah.
But then there's so many videos before that one
Exactly.
that we've seen. We've seen Eric Garner die,
Yes.
choked out. We've
Yes.
seen Sandra Bland. Like we're watching. It's a video
Live.
every year. Boom,
Yes.
boom, boom.
Yes.
So like you got to be. We're tired.
Fed up.
I'm tired
Yeah.
of watching them. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like what?
Yes.
But you got to watch it to see what happened.
Yes.
Like oh, and you can't discredit what happened before or after the video. But what you're watching is some human life being taken. So that part is when we get to this last video, we are frustrated.
Exactly. We've had
Well,
enough. by
who's
now.
gonna do what?
Yeah.
Please help me out.
Yes.
You know, so that's where we're at right now. And like I said, I will not. I don't want to stifle our youth as far as what they want to say and how they want to be heard. But I do want them to be safe,
Absolutely.
and I do want them to exercise their First Right Amendment. But I want them to strategize and plan. I want them to get it together. If we're gonna march, all right, go ahead and get a permit.
Exactly.
You can get a permit.
Yes.
Go get the permit. We're gonna do from here to here. We're gonna block the street off. When we done. We got to be out by
A certain amount of time.
whatever.
Yeah.
If it's 2 hours, 3 hours, we're gonna be
Yeah.
out this time. We're gonna speak. Let's go ahead and get the little noise permit. We're gonna have the little PAs. Let's do it right, and then no one can say anything. So once you just get up and go walk in the street, then we have then there starts the problem.
That's so true. I have a comment. Want to make sure that we're on.
Okay.
I have a comment from Latasha Williams.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Jamie, are we on? Are we on? Yeah, you're on. Okay. Latasha had a comment. She says, one thing about this generation, the millenniums and Generation Alpha, is that they aren't afraid, but their instant gratification is what scares parents.
It is.
Yeah.
I can
Thank
see
you,
that
Latasha, for that. Yeah.
because their thing is the now. I'm gonna feel good if I hate saying it. This is how I talk. Like, I'm gonna feel good if I rock off one time and hit them in the chin. That's gonna make you feel good at that moment. But then, what is the repercussions behind that going forward? So
Yeah.
when I say we have to give them the wisdom
Yes.
and the strategy. Hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you put it together.
Yes.
And this is probably gonna be the outcome. And then after you're done, you're not done.
Right.
Because we want you to do maybe serve on the board, or we want you to, host a town hall. We got to continue to talk, continue to have the hard conversations. And a lot of people are tired of talking. And you know what really hurt me was when somebody said, I ain't gonna pray no more. We're like, wait a minute, where you not gonna pray no more? Where you get that from? And I think we still got to show the millennials that it is easy and steady as the race.
Yeah.
Steady as the race, and so it doesn't have to be leaps and bounds because we didn't get here at leaps and bounds. It actually was over the years. This has gotten to a breaking point. So
and and I listen to you say when people say they don't want to pray anymore. I've been there before in life. I've been so frustrated with the hand I had been dealt, and I didn't want to pray, and I didn't want anybody to pray for me. So sometimes life hits you so hard that you get to that place where, I don't want somebody to tell me the Lord will make a way. I don't want you to pray for me right now. I at this point where I'm at right now, I'm frustrated, and that's not what I need at this time. So I understand when you're frustrated beyond measures, and America is frustrated.
Yes.
And that's why you see the protests in so many different cities, and they're everywhere.
Countries now.
And yes, in the countries, because we're tired. And I noticed when I watched the protests downtown in Wilmington, I wasn't really familiar with anyone that was there. I don't know if they were bussed in, if they were really from Wilmington. I don't know.
Yeah, and that has been a question too.
Yeah, but I did notice that that there were a lot of Caucasian people. They're tired of it. I have friends on Facebook that's tired of it.
Yeah.
Any person that has seen that video, I don't care what color your skin is.
Right.
You have to understand that there's no way to treat anyone, not even an animal. Had that been an animal, I guarantee you he would have been arrested and charged probably quicker than he was because it was a human. But it's just time out for that mentality that it's okay to take the life of someone else. I watched Frances Weller, her on her personal Facebook page. It was entitled "Enough is Enough."
Yeah,
and it was just so good to see people speaking out now because we're tired.
Right.
We're tired of being solid. If you notice on my Facebook page, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. That's your personal business. But tonight we're going to talk about this on Respus Live, and I hope to do a forum soon and have different people from all walks of life so we can talk about this. But then when we finish talking, we have to have an action plan. Yes. I encourage you to go vote because now is the time where we need to make sure our voices are heard at the poll and we get people in position to stop this foolishness because it is time out for all of this that's going on in America.
And we can fuss. We can fuss and be frustrated, but the fuss is to vote the person that you're fussing out or about out. The big thing is that you don't like the conviction rate. So if you don't like the DA, then you don't vote for another DA. Vote for another person. Vote for another sheriff. I mean, you have the power.
Yeah, exactly.
So the same folks as we rah, and after we're done, we just go home. Yeah. No, that's not the case. So while we out there,
that's it.
Hey, y'all, these people right here have convicted so many folk, African American males, or African American females. This is a new DA that we think might be running. Vote for this person. I want y'all to have the person out there campaigning. You want a new mayor? Then vote for a new mayor. Whoever it is, whatever it might be, new senator, new county commissioner, whatever it is, you need to vote them folks out if they're not working for you and your constituent. If they're representing your neighborhood and your constituents or your section or district, and they're not doing what they said they were going to do or not doing anything at all, then that is the time to use your power to vote.
Exactly. And we do have power. Blank. We do have power. Yeah. I was talking with a dear friend of mine, Montana Frank, and I see that she's on, and she's the one that came up with having a forum and let's talking about it and then put an action to it. And she was telling me that, so many people have been told that they can't vote because they're a felon, but there are other things that can be done so that they can vote based upon their crime. So don't allow people to tell you can't vote because you're a felon. You got to make sure you do the research to see if you are able and capable of voting. And that's where our power will come from. We can tear up a store. Yeah, we can do that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we have people at the table. Yes. And so I was glad that you had Kevin on, and he has a seat at the table. So now there's a voice.
Right.
That wasn't there last year. Because he's there this year.
Correct.
And so we continue to make progress. And the thing about it, Bigg B, that is discouraging just a little bit. It seems like every time we take a step forward, we get knocked back 5 steps. Oh, this right here. Oh my gosh, I wake up in the morning thinking about it. Like 3 o'clock in the
Exactly.
morning. It's,
I was restless.
Yeah. And
over
I
the
believe we
weekend. I
all
was-
were restless, to watch that. And it was
Yeah.
so difficult to watch. I can't even put it into words how difficult it was to watch as a mother. I have brothers. I have nephews. It
Right.
could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been my daughter.
Right.
It could have been it could have been my brothers. It could have been any of us.
Right.
And so it hits you differently when you sit and you watch the gentleman take his last breath and call for his mother that is deceased.
That was heavy.
You know,
I was
that
like,
that
oh my
that
goodness.
that hit us hard.
Yeah.
And we're tired now. I mean, this is enough. We've had enough. So now it's time for our voices to be heard.
Right.
And it's time for us to do something.
Right.
We have to have an action plan. We've talked enough. We've had plenty of forums. We need an action plan.
And the seed that we're getting ready to start planting is going to take a while. It's going to take a minute.
Yes.
It's going to take someone Ike's age
Yes.
that want to, and several of his friends, they want to be police officers.
Yes.
Or sheriff.
Yes.
Or lawyers.
Yes.
Or, councilmen or
Yes.
mayors.
Yes.
Or presidents.
Exactly.
Whatever it might be. But we had to plant that seed now on them, and then you got to see it watered. Now, in between there's going to be some folks that come up that say, I think they're going to be great candidates for this and this and this. But as elders, we can't sit back and be like, what do they want to do? We can't have our arms folded and saying, well, I don't know if they're the right person. Well, then you're going to have to do it then.
Exactly.
Let's groom them. Let's help them get
Yes.
groomed. If you don't know how, let's kind of get them to someone that can help groom them. And I think that was a conversation, a candid conversation that me and Kevin have had many times before. And Kevin, Councilman, I like to say Councilman Spears now. I always say Kev. Councilman Spears and I always talk because we have grown up at the same church before. And our thing is, we remember when they were counting us out
Absolutely.
as youth.
Absolutely.
And now he's your councilman.
Yes.
So he has the best relationship with the folks that, hey, you're the have-nots.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you do this, this, and this, and this,
Better is
now he has
possible.
better as possible. And he has the wisdom
Yes.
to say, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
you really can do what
Yeah.
you really want to do.
Yeah.
You just got to focus.
Yeah.
And you can't, you have to change your way. You got to mature a little bit.
Yes.
But it is possible,
It is
100%.
possible. It is.
And so we have to get our folks to say, it's not them and it's not us, but it's all of us together.
Together. We
Here's
have to
my
stand
job.
together.
Here's my job.
Yes.
I'm going to help you. I'm going to stand
Yeah.
back here.
Yes.
You go do this. Hey, check off. You go do that and that and that. And then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you can make your own decisions and what you want to do because this is where you want it to be to help implement change.
Absolutely.
And
We have
that's
to
what we do.
implement change.
Yeah.
It is time for change. And we, as I stated, we've talked enough. It is now time for an action plan. So I'm excited to see the people that are putting the plans together
Yes.
and being a part of putting a plan together to move forward because we're tired.
Right.
Yeah, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That is true.
You know?
I'm excited for the youth because
Yes.
they can have this energy, and I just want them to
Yes.
funnel that energy
In the right location.
in the right location.
Yeah,
I want them to funnel
direction.
that energy into getting in front of people that they want to. I want to go to city council and see all of them in there like,
Yeah.
why they voting for that? Oh, wait a minute, let me tell y'all this why they
Yeah,
voting for
more involved. Yeah,
Right,
yeah. It is
right.
time for us to become more involved.
Right.
I was talking to my friend Wes Hickman. He
Okay.
owns the Hickman Pharmacy in Leland.
Okay, yeah.
He is actually going to be on the forum as well whenever we get the date and everything. And he was like, I've been solid enough. It's time to talk. It's time to do something. So
Right.
we have people that are ready to do something.
Right.
So we just have to make sure we get an action plan together and follow through. It is time for us to do something because we
agree.
cannot sit down and be silent any longer.
Right.
This, I'm telling you, Bigg B, it changed my life when I watched that video. I will never be the same person again.
Exactly.
It changed every fiber of my being. And it was so disheartening to say the least. I wish my vocabulary was elaborate enough so that I could really express how disheartening and disappointing and heartbreaking and shattering it was. But for every person that watched that video of him losing his life at the hand of an officer should be compelled to do or say something.
Right.
We can't watch a video like that and then walk away and be silent.
That's
We
correct.
can't do it. So it's time out
correct.
for us to be silent. It's time for us to get some action plans in place. And the cities are in uproar. I mean, I watch a little. I don't watch a lot of news, and I probably should. But from the little that I did watch, Atlanta, Raleigh, Fayetteville, Wilmington. I mean, Charlotte,
Charleston, yeah,
Chicago. I mean, people,
DC.
and like you say, even internationally. I mean,
Germany.
yes,
There were some
yeah.
things going in Germany and
Yes.
Frankfurt, and yeah.
There's so many. Tony Bryant said that we have to accept responsibility for our own future, and that's so true, Miss Bryant. Thank you so much for your comments. And Sheena also made a comment that at this point, she says it has taken this time to show people's true color and how they feel, and she said how she had to unfriend some people because
Yeah.
she really saw the true color of them. And unfortunately, things like this will allow you to see who your friends are and what they believe in.
Right.
And that's one thing I liked about France as well. I don't know if you listened to her her entire live the other day, but it was on her personal page. If you hadn't had a chance to look at it, I encourage you to go look at it. It was entitled "Enough is Enough," and she said, if you don't agree with this, then you're not my friend anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, she made it perfectly clear.
agree.
It's
I agree.
time out for us to I was going to use a word that my grandma used, but I better not. It's time out for us to just, dancing around stuff.
Right.
We need to make sure that they're clear on what we stand and what we believe on. And
Right.
it's okay to unfriend people.
Right.
It's okay to disassociate yourself with people if that's the way they feel.
Right.
But it doesn't change your stance and how you feel. You have to be compassionate, and you have to be compassionate about how you feel and,
Right.
and the rage and the anger. We can be angry, but we're not supposed to sin when we're angry. But I'm angry. I'm frustrated.
Right.
I'm aggravated with the judicial system and how this is allowed, and how the other officers just stood there and just watched. There was a lady that was an EMT that was there. She says, I'm an EMT. I'm telling you, check his pulse.
Right.
And they won't even do that.
He walked away.
I just don't understand. How could you do that? I mean, I don't understand not having compassion in your heart for a human being,
Right.
and to just watch him take his last breath on a live and call for his mama just shattered me. It changed my life. I will never be the same again.
Right. And it's going to start with a lot of, as we talk about, it's going to be starting with a lot of community policing.
Yes.
And that is where you're going to have officers that are entrenched in the community. Mm-hmm. So if John cutting up, John, calm down, man. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What you doing? I'm about to call your grandmama.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? I don't want to have to.
That's
I don't
how
have
it
to
was
lock you
when
up.
we were growing
I
up.
don't want to have to lock you up tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Come on, come here. What you doing over here?
Yeah.
So that's gonna have to. We're going to have to really, really train inside of the community policing. I'm a big fan of what's going on with the PAL program in Wilmington. Shouts out to Hargrove, Officer, Captain Hargrove, and how all the kids know who he is. But that was the same thing. We had PAL, I think. It's about 25 years old. Yeah, we had PAL, but he would give you, all right, I'm going to go around the corner.
Yeah.
And when I come back around, everybody shouldn't be on the corner. You're like, oh, man, Hargrove, he going to run out and chase us too. So that's community policing, because he was giving you that chance to get to your grandmama house or your mama house before it really went down.
Yeah.
And so before this really went down, he could have, if it was community policing, he could have been like, all right, hey, y'all calm down. What is it? But, all right, so do we need to break this up or whatever that case was? Because we don't know exactly what happened before the video and after. But we saw the video.
Yeah.
So
I did see some.
that could have been prevented.
Yeah, I saw
100%.
some footage
From the beginning?
from the stores.
Got you.
And he was on the ground and he had complied to them. I
Right.
didn't see where he wasn't in compliance, but either if he wasn't, it doesn't call for his life.
Right, it doesn't.
There's nothing that you
Right.
could have done that gives you the permission to put your knee on someone's throat for 8 to 9 minutes.
Right.
That is just uncalled for.
Right.
And then the look on his face, I think, is what angered me the most. It was so nonchalant and no compassion.
Like that has been done before.
Absolutely.
So this is
Yeah.
where we become frustrated and tired
Yes.
of seeing this
Yes.
because we've seen it before.
Yeah, this
Or
is
we've
not our
seen
first rodeo.
We've
It's
seen
not,
some type of illegal hold or
Yes,
something
yes,
before where
yes.
someone's been choked out, and that's what brings the frustration.
Yes.
Us not being quiet anymore is the big thing now. Saying,
Yeah.
hey, look,
Yeah.
if you're not going to prosecute this correctly, or the grand jury, we're just going to vote you out.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
going to be our thing.
Yeah.
And I hate saying this. Don't come to church for half the service asking for your vote. Don't come and visit us and be there for 10 minutes when they do the visitors, and you get up and say, yeah, I'm running for so-and-so, and then you dip. No, we don't need that. We need to find out exactly what your agenda is. And maybe you need to have a team from our community to say, hey, this is what we want. This is what we're tired of.
If we have someone that's in office that has not spoken out about this, they don't need to be in office again.
I agree with you.
That I think they could eliminate themselves. I think we should look at every leader, and if they're not speaking up, then they have eliminated themselves as far as voting is concerned. This is not the time to be silent. Every councilman, every person in official capacity should be saying something. I applaud the chief of police, the interim chief of police.
Yes.
I read his statement. Williams, isn't it? His name?
Chief Donnie Williams. Yes.
I appreciate the leaders speaking up and speaking out. If you serve in an office where people voted you in and you haven't made a statement publicly, you don't need to be in office. That they can eliminate themselves by being quiet during this time, because now is the time that we should all speak. There was Denise Clark Robbins says, change is needed. Nobody's son or daughter deserves to be murdered due to the skin color. That racism is real. And so many times we don't want to say that. We want to think that we've arrived and that we've gone past, the black water fountains and the colored water fountains and the white water fountains. We want to say we've surpassed that, but racism still exists in different ways.
Right. And
yes.
In the physicality. Yes, my mom drunk out of a colored water fountain.
Yes.
And so you're talking about 1963, 1964. This is when she's graduating from high school. So now it's policy. So now we're not in the rooms to help make policy.
Yeah.
So now you kind of, that is racism.
Yeah,
we're just not in the rooms. It's just not a black door and a white door. You're just not in the room to help to try to make the policy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Denise, for those comments. We thank all of you for your comments on tonight and joining us on Respus Live. We're so grateful to have to be back on Respus Live, and then to have our special guest Bigg B on tonight. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And listen, Bigg B brought me a T-shirt.
Hey,
let me just tell you what, I'm going to wear this. It says "Better is possible." So if you would like any of this paraphernalia, what can they?
They can go to BiggBsWorld.com.
BiggBsWorld.com and get your shirt.
It's on there. Click on shop and y'all can get it.
Yes.
Promise you.
Yeah, better is possible. I want you to remember, we've talked about a lot of things on tonight, but I want you to remember that better is possible, that it is up to us to experience the best life that we have, and there are no limitations to to what we can accomplish in life and what we can become, but we have to, we're the CEOs of our own lives, and it's up to us to get up and to move into the places that we deserve to be in, and to understand that there are no limits to what we can have, because better is possible. Right. But the thing is, it's possible, but we have to take action. It's up to us to get up and go get it. Correct. It belongs to us. We deserve it. We deserve to be in whatever room we've been in, or the rooms that are empty that we will walk in. We deserve to be in there. Mm-hmm. And when I say we, I'm just not talking about black people. I'm talking about people as a whole, because we're all people. We're all God's people. Right. And so we deserve what is out there for us. We deserve the best. And I'm excited, because I want you to understand, at the end of the day, when you go to bed tonight, I want you to know that better is possible for you and your family and your children. It is one of my prayers that our children won't have to keep experiencing this. Right. In 2020, we should not be experiencing this. Right. This is ridiculous. So I'm believing, and I still have hope, and even at the time of this, I still have hope, and we have to keep hope alive, and we have to get out, and we have to vote, and we have to speak up, and it's time for us to take actions. Mm-hmm. So whatever way you can take actions, whatever way you can make a change, don't watch that video and allow your life to be the same. Don't watch him lose his life in such a horrific way. Agreed. and not change. Agreed. So I encourage you to go vote, and to make a change, and to hold people accountable in position of leadership if they haven't spoken out on this, and they're in a public office where they're supposed to serve the people. Then we shouldn't have any respect for them, because now is not the time to be silent. Correct. So again, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for talking. Chad, I'm going to read your comment really quick. Chad Joyner says, thank you, Sharon and Bigg B, for having this conversation. He says, I strive to and will continue to put voices in a position to affect by planning, training, and mobilizing them for the kingdom work. So thank you so much, Chad, for joining us, and thank you for your action plan. And if there's any way Bigg B and I can jump on, we're ready if we can. So thank you all for your comments. I try to read most of them, but of course, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm struggling and straining over here on my way home. But thank you all for signing on. Thank you, Bigg B, for coming.
Thank you for
I
having
am
me.
so
I had a good
grateful.
time.
It's been great. And again, what's your website again?
You can go to my website. You can go to let's do betterispossible.org.
.org.
Yeah, betterispossible.org. You can go there and you can see the programs that we do through the community.
Yes.
There's one we're starting up. I'm starting up inside of the umbrella called Man Up, and there's a small percentage of men at that 18 to 27 that there's no programs for.
Okay.
And so we're trying to help them out. And that's not to compete with Link or anybody like that. But there's a small percentage, and we're going to do some small mentoring as far as jobs and things like that. How to get back in school if you kind of hit a rough bump.
Yeah.
You want to get back in school.
Better is possible.
Better is possible. You don't have to stop.
Yes.
Don't stop. That's the big thing.
exactly.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Once you stop, it's done.
Yeah.
You got to keep going.
Yep.
So we're doing that, and that's at betterispossible.org. And all the things about me is at Bigg B's World, BIGGBS, BiggB'sWorld.com.
BiggB'sWorld.com. So
Yeah.
please, you get a chance to go visit both of his sites and see what's going on and see how we can make a change and see if he needs any help and if you can assist him in any way. Again, thank you so much for joining Respus Live. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. I don't want to forget that. And to Andrea, who actually is Makeup by Drea. Beauty by Drea. She actually,
What's up, Drea?
Drea.
You got to be in the runway now. You got to do the Port City runway. That's my girl there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I visit her every evening before I come on Respus Live. So thank you so much, Drea, for beating my face. And A&A Promotions, they actually do provided the same music for Respus Live. We thank you for that. And to LC Outreach Project, the sponsorship from Tanya Hilliard, and also your Triller Johnson was a sponsor as well. So if you're interested in being a sponsor for Respus Live, and what we do is, Bigg B, we ask for sponsors so that we can continue to come on the air and just encourage people and to keep pushing people and letting them know that better is possible.
Okay.
So if you would like to sponsor us, please just leave a comment below or send me a message, and we'll be happy to send you a sponsorship letter. But we're soliciting any sponsors any way you can to help us keep this on the air and to keep moving and keep talking about the things that are important and encouraging people. And so thank you again for joining us, and we're glad to be back. I have missed you guys so much. So thank you for joining us on our first Respus Live back, June the 1st with Bigg B. Again, thank you, Bigg B, for coming. It has been a great evening. And thank you all for your comments and for joining. And please share the video and continue to have conversations with your children. I mean, you got to have that conversation with them. You got to make sure that they get home safely at night. And so take care, and thank you again for joining. And until we meet again, may his peace be with you. Blessings. Thank you, Bigg B.
Thank you.
Better is